Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. I hope everyone can hear us well and can see us. If not, please drop a question or just let us know. So today I'm here joined by Louise, and we'll be talking about e-commerce and Odoo. First, Louise will be giving an introduction to Odoo, why Odoo could be interesting for your business. And then I myself will be talking about how Odoo fits in the context of e-commerce and about our specific Odoo for e-commerce setups that we do, how it can help your business. So, Louise?
Yes, thank you very much for the introduction. I'm Louise, partner manager in Odoo. It means that I work together with implementation partners who do the implementation and configuration of the system with clients. I'm here today, like Julien said, to discuss the Odoo part. So don't hesitate at the end or during the conversation. If you have any questions, just drop it here and we'll answer to it immediately. So what is Odoo? Odoo is a company that has started 20 years ago, and it was launched and still is managed by our CEO, Fabien Pinkaert. Odoo is a system that places itself on this graph on the top right. Why? Because when you compare with other systems, it's a full-scale ERP system. Compared to, for example, SAP that starts with the needs of the customers and then develops everything based on that. Odoo is really a system that already exists. The apps have already been developed, and it's really based on the configuration that the clients can have their company translated in Odoo. And we also compare with other companies like Shopify and HubSpot, where they really concentrate on one specific business need, whereas Odoo really answers to all the business needs that you may have in a company, all the flows that a company can manage. One app for every need. So the idea is that the applications that are here on the slides are apps that are already developed by us. They already have a basic use, and then the idea is that you configure it to your needs. Every application has an answer to a certain business flow. We strongly recommend to start with one specific application for one specific need and then grow. So for example, if you really have a necessity to boost your sales, we recommend you to start with the sales and the CRM applications, but afterwards grow to using the HR or the marketing application, for example. These are the four KPIs, the four keywords that we usually use to describe Odoo. Odoo is a fully integrated system. So like previously said, we have all the applications to manage all your business flows. It has all the modules and all the feature present in the system. The idea, and I strongly recommend you to go on our website and also on our pricing, the Odoo licenses are based on users. So if you're a company of 10 employees, you will probably be 10 users that will use Odoo, and these users have access to all the applications. So the idea is that you scale, but that you have access to all the modules if you want to use them. It's also intuitive in use. So for customers who are already using Odoo, you may be a testimonial for us. But clients that are not yet on the Odoo ecosystem, you can always go on Odoo trial, make a trial database, and then you will see how straightforward and easy in use Odoo already is without already making some developments. Then I will go make a small difference between Odoo and other systems that are already on the market. So this slide and the next ones are systems that already exist, that are also tools to manage your company. I will not go in very details with the different systems, but you will see, we will send you the slide deck afterwards, and you will see the differences. The general idea compared to Exact-Online and NetSuite, for example, is that it has a specific flow, but it doesn't answer all the business needs of your company compared to Odoo that does. And if we compare with also SAP and Microsoft, they also have an answer to some specific needs, but not all of them again. So please don't hesitate to drop if you have any questions regarding these things. I will stay here, but I will let the floor to Julien to talk about the e-commerce and the digital part.
Thanks, Louise. So thank you for doing the introduction about Odoo. Now, let's talk about Odoo for e-commerce. First, I'd like to introduce myself a little bit more. I'm Julien. I'm the business unit manager of the Odoo team at Dear Digital. Dear Digital is an Odoo partner, but we're also a e-commerce agency, meaning that we provide different services for e-commerce companies. Those are digital marketing. We also design and build web shops with both Shopify and Odoo, and we implement ERP systems with Odoo, of course, and just integrated systems in general for our e-commerce clients. We're currently with about 45 to 50 people strong. That goes from designers to developers to business analysts, anyone who can fulfill a purpose. We are currently trusted by 30 plus e-commerce brands for which we've done digital marketing, built web shops, and set up ERP systems. Mainly those are located in the Netherlands and in Belgium. Now, Odoo for e-commerce. So why do you need Odoo for e-commerce? So why did we, Dear Digital, an e-commerce agency, start with Odoo? Because initially we only did digital marketing and we built web shops with Shopify. So we added Odoo as a third unit at some point. And the main reason was because our existing e-commerce clients were facing similar issues. And we started looking for a solution. In the end, we decided to help them by implementing Odoo. Which problems occurred the most, and for what did they come to us mainly? Well, mainly because they started growing because of our awesome digital marketing and web shops. They were getting more and more orders, and their operational needs exceeded their capacity. A lot of manual actions were needed to process orders, and their data was all decentralized. They didn't have clear business processes, and they were often out of stock or didn't have any insight in their finance and accounting. So these are 5 key things that our Odoo for e-commerce setup answers. Reducing manual actions through automation, centralizing your data and therefore enabling you to get key insights into your business and make more informed decisions. Also standardizing and simplifying your business processes. This also allows you to scale with your operational team. Onboarding new employees becomes easier this way. Also, because of the fragmented systems landscape that they had, they didn't really have a centralized inventory management tool, and oftentimes the data was not accurate, and therefore they were out of stock for some of their key products at times. Also, because their systems weren't directly integrated with their accounting tools, the accounting was always a snapshot, so a momentopname, like we say in Dutch, and wasn't real time. Therefore, their decisions were always based on historical data that wasn't necessarily accurate that day. So these are some of the key things why you might need Odoo for e-commerce. It's important that when you have an e-commerce company, that you have a scalable technology stack that provides the infrastructure for growth. If you don't have that, then when you start growing, your technology stack will be a hindrance instead of an enabling thing in your company. So we've talked about why you could need Odoo for e-commerce. Now let's talk about what it is exactly. Odoo for e-commerce has a couple of building blocks, key main characteristics. The first one is that it's a fully integrated setup. and I'll show you an example later on. Also, it needs to have an automated order to cash process, meaning that orders need to be need to go through the whole business process, both financial and logistically, without having to need any manual or human interference. It also needs to enable B2B and B2C sales in this omnichannel world where a web shop isn't enough anymore. You need a system that can provide both B2B and B2C capabilities. And then, of course, you have the big ones: inventory, warehouse management, purchasing and manufacturing, accounting. All these operational tools need to be available in the same system, because having those tools and capabilities in one system will allow you to process everything much faster and in real time. Now, I'm going to go a little bit more in depth on this, but an important thing to note is that you can start small. It's a composable system, meaning that you don't need a huge, full-fledged system that has all of these business processes in a system at once. You could also decide to start small, tackle key issues that you're having right now, and therefore spreading the investment of having this setup in over a certain duration of time. Let your system scale alongside you, alongside your business. So this is the core. This is everything in Odoo: finance, accounting, CRM, sales, invoicing, your supply chain modules like inventory, purchasing, production, everything regarding reporting. You can even add recruitment modules and other employee-related modules. But this is the core of Odoo. But our Odoo for e-commerce setup means that you need to integrate this core Odoo setup with your sales channels. So oftentimes our customers or potential customers, they already have a web shop, and that's either on Odoo itself or on Shopify or on WooCommerce, another platform like Magento. They might have a bol.com account. They might have a Lightspeed POS. Well, you need to integrate all of those sales channels with Odoo. And the second part of the full integration setup is, of course, integrating your logistical partners. So you need this to have the full automation of the logistical process, whether you do in-house fulfillment or you work with third-party logistics partners like Active Ants and Monta. These partners, their systems need to be connected to your Odoo platform, or you need to be connected to SendCloud, UPS, etc. for label creation. I'm going to go more in depth on this and showcase this in the case in the second part. But these are the two important parts for the Odoo for e-commerce setup. The third one is integrating your payments. So to be able to reconcile those orders coming from the sales channels and have a fully automated financial flow for incoming orders, you need to be integrated with Stripe, IDN Moly, PayPal, whatever your payment provider is on those sales channels, in order to import the transactions and to reconcile the orders automatically as well. Okay, so I already covered most of this, but I'll go a little bit more in depth. The channels that you can connect here with Odoo are POS, marketplaces, your B2C, B2B web shops, but they can also be other sales channels. For example, one client of ours has a custom subscription engine that also generates orders. This you also want to connect to Odoo in order to have everything centralized. All of these sales channels can be connected either through applications that are already available on the market, through custom-built integrations. This is, of course, a pricier investment, and also by using middleware services like Alumio, which are beneficial if you have a lot of integrations and have a lot of systems that need to talk to each other. You even could add a PIM system in your tech stack. So I didn't add it here in the example because it would be too much, but a product information management tool is also interesting if you have a lot of products and you have a lot of sales channels where the content of those products need to be managed. So this could also be part of the Odoo for e-commerce setup, but for the sake of simplicity, I did not add it in this slide. Then also your payment providers. I've already covered the ones you see here, Stripe, Adyen, Molly, PayPal. You could also have Shopify payments or Lightspeed payments. Those can also be integrated either through standard Odoo integrations or through custom integrations. So there are a wide variety, and I'm going to answer your question in a second. There's a wide variety of payment providers. Some of them are natively in Odoo. So you can, for example, connect with Stripe, Adyen, Molly, PayPal. Shopify payments is a little bit trickier, but it's still possible. All right, someone asked, can you connect B2B marketplaces such as Anchor Store? Yeah, so Anchor Store, Order Champ, Fair, these are all similar B2B marketplaces. You could technically integrate those. The current market is evolving and there are more and more native integrations being built. But for those three, so Anchor Store, Order Champ, Fair, the ones that most people know, there aren't any pre-built integrations yet. But with for example, a middleware like Illumio, you could connect to the API of those platforms, and you could pull in orders. A second idea is to use a different tool to integrate those systems. So I have a client, for example, who uses an empty Shopify store to sync orders from Anchor Store to Odoo. So the orders are synced from Anchor Store to Shopify and then from Shopify to Odoo. This is, of course, a workaround and just a simple solution that we implemented because there wasn't a native Anchor Store Odoo integration. And at the time, this was just an easy fix. We're hoping, though, that for a lot of these B2B marketplaces, integrations will be built natively as well in the future. I hope this answers your question. I can't see or hear you, but if you have any follow-up questions, please ask them. All right. Last part of having a fully integrated setup, your logistical partners. So a lot of e-commerce companies either work with a fulfillment partner or they do fulfillment in-house or a combination of both. For in-house fulfillment, we mostly work with SendCloud because this allows you to work with a lot of different carriers. And most of the time, this answers the needs of our clients. For clients that work with 3PLs like Active Ants or Monta, we most of the time have to build a custom integration with the API. Sometimes they do have already pre-made Odoo integrations, but this is again evolving a lot, and more 3PL companies are building those integrations themselves. You do need this in order to sync the orders from Odoo to the 3PL. As they will fulfill the order, the update will be sent back to Odoo and your stock will be adjusted in Odoo because the delivery order will be validated. More on that later. Okay, so now we've covered what the elements are of those of having a fully integrated setup. This is just the basics, by the way. You can go way further if you want to, but once you have this, you can achieve a no-touch automated order-to-cash process. Let's say, for example, that you work with a 3PL. Well, in this case, a Shopify order or a WooCommerce order could be placed, or if you have a Odoo web shop, it could be placed directly in your Odoo web shop. But this will generate an order in the sales module, and I'm going to show you specific case sums on screens about this later. But starting from this, you could have a fully automated financial flow where the invoice is booked, the VAT is set correctly, the payment is registered, and in the end, reconciliation is done through an integration with Molly or another payment provider. And same thing for the logistical flow. Your delivery order will be synced to the 3PL, and 3PL will fulfill the package. So they will send the product to the customer. At this point, the order confirmation or the delivery confirmation will be synced back to Odoo, and that will be synced back to Shopify, which is of course important for your email marketing, as this is often used as a trigger, maybe for a review or for something else. So this no-touch order-to-cash process is really one of the key benefits of having Odoo for e-commerce, as it allows you to scale a lot, and it doesn't really matter if you have 100 orders or 1,000 orders a day, as this is fully automated, or as much as possible at least. This doesn't create a lot of overhead. Any questions for this? Please post them. I'll wait for seconds. Okay. So another part of the Odoo for e-commerce setup is, like I said, you need to be able to sell both to B2C and B2B. Odoo offers a lot of B2B functionalities, like a CRM, price list, where you can manage different prices for different B2B customers in one place. You could also set up a B2B web shop. We've done this a couple of times already, where a customer, for example, has a Shopify web shop for B2C orders, but they have an Odoo web shop for B2B orders. Why? Because in Odoo, you can set a price list for the customers, and you can also make sure that your B2B customers can only see the shop and the prices if they have an account, which you can give to them, and they can also request it. So it's really a shielded web shop that you can create, and tailor-made just for the B2B customers that you want on them. Another feature is, of course, the customer segmentation. So all the B2B customers can be segmented, and this allows you to get some insights in your reporting. And then you'll, of course, also have the quotations and invoicing, which are basic features, but are very important for your B2B sales. There are even some neat features where you can send quotations and ask the B2B customer to sign them and to pay them. This will automatically generate a delivery order or an invoice and send it as well. So again, some automation here is also possible. Then there's a couple of other big topics, of course, but I'm not going to go too deep on them, as we can really get lost in them. But inventory and warehouse management is, of course, one of the key features of Odoo as an ERP. Being able to set up your fulfillments, so your outgoing logistical flows and your incoming logistical flows is, of course, very handy. You can choose to do 1-step, 2-step, or 3-step fulfillment flow. So pick and ship or pick, pack, ship. You can even create some automation there where you automatically print the labels and delivery slips and barcodes when you exactly need them by configuring certain scenarios. And also having the barcode scanner in this process allows you to keep track of all the logistical moves and to make sure you don't send too much products or didn't receive enough products from your vendor, for example. There are, of course, also other features like traceability. If you have any products with expiry dates or perishables, I need to be able to track those in your system and know what you've sent to which customer. This is also possible. Reordering rules allow you to make sure you're never out of stock based on lead times, current stock, and forecasted stock. You can actually trigger Odoo to create new purchase orders or replenishments that will let you know that you're almost out of stock and that you need to purchase or produce new products. Any questions here? I see that there's a question. How does Shopify compare to Odoo? Aren't they competitors? Yes, good question. So as we do both, I think we're well placed to answer here. So for certain use cases, we prefer Shopify, and for others, we prefer Odoo. If you're very online oriented and your web shop is one of your main sales channels, then we prefer Shopify, as it's a little bit more advanced on the e-commerce part, and it's a best of breed platform. While if you have a lot of different channels and you need a lot of customizations in your web shop, or you want to build a certain platform, then Odoo is a preferred choice, as it allows for a lot of customization, more than Shopify. I hope this answers your question. It's always a case-by-case decision that we make and that we suggest to our customers. But yeah, if your web shop is very, very important and drives a lot of the sales, then we prefer Shopify. Odoo has a lot of capabilities and has a lot of features, but sometimes a best of breeds in a solution is the better choice, while for other certain use cases, Odoo will be the better choice for the web shop. We've built both, so sometimes we've gone for Odoo, sometimes we've gone for Shopify.
Maybe I can also answer on this question. So
Sure.
for the not which one is better, but aren't they competitors? Like I said in the introduction slide, Odoo and Shopify are competitors in the way that Shopify really concentrate on the e-commerce part, and Odoo is really a full scope ERP system, in which one of the applications is e-commerce. So it really means that maybe in some cases Shopify is better for specific use case, but within Odoo, one of the apps is also e-commerce. So both possibilities are possible. And once the client says that Shopify is better for their specific needs, the connection is possible. But financially and usability wise, the easiest way in the first place is just to use Odoo and all the application that it is, one of them being the e-commerce applications. And if that's not enough, let's say, if the possibilities of the Odoo e-commerce are not enough, then you can make a connection with the partner, in this case, Dear Digital, to connect it with Shopify. But competitors, I wouldn't say. It's not really the same target and the same value proposition.
Yeah, thanks, Louise, for the clarity on that. So I hope this answers your question. If you have any more questions on this, we can definitely discuss it in the Q&A. Then purchasing and manufacturing. So also, of course, very important, your supply chain modules, purchasing and manufacturing, whether you do assembly in-house or you produce your products in-house or subcontracting, dropshipping, all of these things are possible with the standard Odoo modules. The purchasing app allows you to even send call for tenders or blanket orders, RFQs to your vendors. It also allows extra control of your purchasing process with three-way matching, where you will check your receipt, the vendor bill, and the original purchase order to make sure that everything is okay. And for your manufacturing flow, you can create a multi-level bill of materials, where you can, for example, start with your smallest components. Those are then assembled in a halffabrikaat, like we say in Dutch, and then in the final product. So a lot of layers can be set up within the manufacturing flow. And there's also a lot of other modules related to manufacturing, like quality and PLM, that allow you to control the quality of the production process. I'm not going to go too much in depth on these topics, as you can really lose yourself in them. But my main point here is that for inventory, purchasing, and manufacturing, Odoo acts like yeah, an ERP system like you would know them. It's just that all of these modules are very well integrated with the other modules that you might need in your business. So I'm going to stop 2 seconds here before I go to the case. Are there any questions that you want to ask? I'm going to wait for a couple of seconds so you can type. Okay, so I'm going to continue. If I see a question popping up, I'll stop. The case. So to give you better insights into what we're exactly talking about, I thought I'd show some screens, a specific flow, and mainly the automated order to cash flow. So just to recap, what is order to cash flow? It's basically the whole sales process from order to delivery, to invoicing, to reconciliation, to receiving the payment thus. So that's the whole order to cash flow. In this case, for a client, we had to integrate 2 Shopify stores and a WooCommerce store. So the Shopify stores were B2C stores, and the WooCommerce store was a B2C store. They already had these web shops, and they were looking for a system that could help them with a lot of their needs. One of them being automating the order to cash process. They did in-house fulfillment, and meaning they created labels internally and did the packaging and picking internally. So the system also needed to be able to facilitate this process. So how does the order to cash flow look like in this specific case? Well, it first starts with a Shopify order being placed in Shopify. So this is the Shopify backend and a specific order. It is then synced to Odoo through a webhook, meaning that once the order is placed, it is synced instantly to Odoo. So it only takes a couple of seconds until placement of the order, and that it's created in Odoo. So as you can see here, it generates a Odoo order. And before we continue, right now, the first step that you saw, so the order being synced from Shopify to Odoo, is the order creation and confirmation. So right now we're in the sales module, as you can see. You have the sales module over here, and starting from there, both the logistical and the financial flow will be started. I have a question here. Is order immediately fulfilled in Shopify? So no, I've taken screenshots to give you an idea, but in reality, the order will not be fulfilled in Shopify. That comes later. So this is just a bad screenshot, but the order will be unfulfilled. It will be synced to Odoo. And only when in Odoo, the delivery order is set as completed, only then the updates will be sent back to Shopify and it will fulfill the order in Shopify. So it is in line with reality. And yeah, I hope that covers that question. So let's talk about this flow. As I said, the order is created in Odoo. And this is a sales order in Odoo. As you can see, it has all the basics. You have your customer details, your products, you have your taxes, unit price, etc. On top here, you have some smart buttons. The delivery and the invoice buttons are here as well. So as we're talking about the logistical flow, first going to talk about the delivery. So the order is synced to Odoo. It is immediately confirmed to a sales order, and it immediately generates a delivery order like this. So this delivery order is of course, something that you will see in the inventory module. So it's a separate object in the system, and your order pickers will not be looking at sales orders. They will be looking at the inventory module, and what they will see is that there's one delivery order ready to process, meaning that an order was created in Odoo due to the order sync from Shopify, and as this product, the products in the order are already available, it will be ready for fulfillment. So that's why you see one to process. There's one order ready to be sent. This, if you click on this button, then you will of course see a list of all the orders ready to process. And this is the example here. So you see here status ready, meaning it can be sent. All right, so this is the delivery order. It is of course, it originates from the Shopify order that was then synced to Odoo. And you can also see here, there's a small label that says Shopify, which just tells you that the order comes from there. As you can see here on the print screen, it's already set and done. So in this case, the order was already fulfilled and went from the status ready to done. But what happens in reality is the order picker will process this order, and what it will do is it will generate a label by communicating with SendCloud. So SendCloud is integrated with Odoo, and you have all your SendCloud carriers enabled. You have your shipping methods, which are linked to certain carriers like UPS or DHL. And these are also configured in Odoo and are linked with the shipping methods in Shopify in this case. So it will map the shipping methods between Odoo and Shopify. And when the delivery order is validated, it will generate the labels. And through automatic printing, which can also be set up, you can automatically print the labels once they are once the delivery order is validated. So this really allows you to automate a lot of the process. The only thing that needs to happen here manually is an order picker who validates the order and therefore generates the labels. All the rest of the actions are manual actions, like putting the label on the box, creating the package, etc. Any questions here? Okay. So that's the logistical flow. And of course, SendCloud could be replaced with 3PL. What also happens here, which I didn't show, is once the order is done, it will actually send back an update to Shopify and fulfill the order, like I said before. This completely closes the logistical loop and brings everything together. Now, the second flow is, of course, a financial flow. And this is also completely automated. So once the order is created in Odoo, and most of the time the order will already be paid in webshop, it will also generate an invoice, which is again easily to find on an order through a smart button. In this case, the order was paid directly with Molly. Therefore, the invoice is created in Odoo and booked immediately and marked as paid. Well, it says in payment here because in this case, the order has not been reconciled yet, but we do know that it was paid. So also interesting to see here is that in the invoice, you can actually directly see on which accounts the order was processed. So for VAT and for the actual products. This can be configured on your products directly or on your product categories. And because your accounting system is in the same system, so your accounting module, you can actually see all this information and you can configure this in a lot of detail. This is really one of the strong points of Odoo, and having this full integration of both order management and accounting in one system. After this step, what will happen is an outstanding payment will be generated from the invoice, and every few days or every day, the bank synchronization will happen, meaning that all the transactions will be imported from Molly or Stripe or Adyen, and thanks to reconciliation models, you'll be able to reconcile those outstanding payments and those bank transactions automatically. So again, here, the accuracy of this reconciliation really depends on the data that you get from the bank. So when I say bank, I mean Molly, Stripe, Adyen. Here, sometimes we have to do some small customization to make sure that all the data is imported correctly, but this really allows you to reconcile these automatically and accurately as well. All right, so this was the financial flow, and here I end the case as well. It's a pretty simple case. I didn't want to make it too complicated, but now you can ask a lot of questions if you want to, and I can go in, more in depth on certain topics if you want to. So this is the Q&A part. Please ask questions, or if you have any remarks, just let us know. I'm gonna wait for a few seconds here. Does it integrate with Magento? So, like I said, for these sales channels, you have pre-built integrations. We use the same ones for Shopify and WooCommerce. You have also some for Magento through Alumio. You can also connect through them, also with Lightspeed Commerce. So yeah, there's different options. I think you can also custom build them, but of course that would be hefty investments. But for most large e-commerce platforms, you do have an integration. Well, there's definitely for our e-commerce clients, the sales module, inventory, invoicing, accounting, purchasing, and manufacturing. So these are really the core modules that offer a lot of value within Odoo. There's a lot of different ones as well. For example, we at Your Digital use the HR modules, employee modules, project and timesheet management, but that's of course less interesting for e-commerce customers. But yeah, there's so many. But yeah, I mentioned the ones that are important for our customers. Any more questions? All right, then I will end the webinar here. Thank you all for joining. Thanks, Louise, for giving the intro. And I hope you enjoyed it. You'll be able to rewatch the webinar and you'll get the slides as well. If you have any questions or you want to talk, please contact me, Julien at yourdigital.com or John at yourdigital.com, and we'll gladly talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.